Oh, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And hello and welcome everyone to the Unsolicited Wrestling Podcast. It's I guess, like annual show now that I do, but I'm really happy because I'm not doing it alone this time. I've actually brought a friend. If you've listened to the very wonderful Capes and Quests D&D podcast that I put together for patrons. That'll actually be launching in September for everyone else, but you probably already know this man. But if you don't, say hi to Kirk, everybody.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Remind everyone what you do in case they forgot.
Like I said, I always like to call myself the Rick Jones of the internet. I'm always that guy that like people recognize from other shows and other podcasts and bigger things that they just kind of pull in like, oh yeah, I think I've seen him on the internet before. My name's Kirk. I go by the Ft.KirkFM all over on my socials on Twitter, YouTube, and just started a Twitch channel. Hopefully, I'll actually get some content up there tonight. I also am a contributor for panelpatter.com.
Nice.
And that's an Eisner-nominated comic book site. We do a lot of reviews. I got a couple interviews going up from Comic-Con. And, yeah, you might recognize me also from the Comic Book Girl 19 show from way back in the day. I was in episodes you didn't even know it, if you can kind of figure that one out. But, yeah,
Killer.
I do fun stuff like this because this is the only way I can relate to nerds is just get on the internet and start screaming into the void.
I feel you, man. And thank you for joining me on this wrestling show. I knew
Oh, yeah.
we followed each other on Twitter for the longest time, and I think, we stayed following because it's like, oh, not only do we both like comics, but we both like the same wrestling thing. And because we were both super, super psyched for AEW All Out, I knew I had to get you for this episode.
Thank you, dude. I appreciate it. I hope you don't mind. I am definitely marking out.
Oh,
I
thank
was just going to put the shirt on. Let's just put it on Front Street. Let everyone know exactly what I'm about.
Oh, yeah. You're in the right place here, man. I'm wearing the OG, the Elite Change the World shirt. I think this was before they had the official AEW merch, but this was the one I jumped on.
Right.
It sucks ordering wrestling shirts in Canada because they charge you that much more for, like, duties and shipping and handling and everything.
Which you would think, considering, like, one of their vice presidents is Omega, and he's truly Canadian,
Right.
and it's like, come on, dude.
Tell me about it.
Help your countrymen out a little.
I think they
Bring
like.
the spirits down a little bit.
I think Pro Wrestling Tees dropped it a little bit just recently, but still, it's negligible at the most. The trick is I need to buy the shirt, send them to a friend in America, and then go see them at some point and just pick up all my merch.
Am I gonna be your shirt mule?
You might just have to be my shirt connect when this is all said and done. So yes, everyone, we're going to be talking about some wrestling. We're going to give our predictions for the AEW show, but I've also put together a nice smattering of news that's been going on since I haven't been doing this show, and this is kind of perfect too because Kirk said before we came on, it's like, look, I'm not watching WWE's product regularly, and I'm like, that's fine, neither am I.
I'm keeping up with the news.
Same.
And then I just kind of like roll my eyes, and then I go over to the AEW site and try to figure out what's going on next.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But hey, to me, it's actually kind of freeing to not watch that much WWE anymore because that means I have more time for other shows, and I've actually been branching out. I watched AAA because obviously the Elite has had a lot of crossover with them recently. We're going to talk about TNA later. We're going to talk about New Japan, so I got a little smattering from everywhere. Alrighty then.
Yeah.
So our first piece of news here was a piece of news that broke literally today. It wasn't going to be on the list, but now it is, and people in the chat are already talking about it. Enzo and Cass have supposedly been approached by WWE for a big return, and yep, that face you're making is my face, too.
Didn't take long for Vince to start making moves.
No.
On NXT did it.
No, it really, really did not. And again, this is so transparent. The look, we fired both of them because they were hard to work with and not worth the trouble. But also, we would hate to see them working for the competition. So
exactly.
I guess all will be forgiven. And here's the thing, too. Apparently, Vince still liked both of these guys. And if he had his way, he probably wouldn't have fired either of them.
Probably not. I think if anything, I mean, Enzo absolutely was fired just for optics.
Yeah. Oh.
That was just
fucked up.
Yeah. I kind of don't necessarily think that WWE. I think it's more the lawyers going, "You need to do this."
Yeah.
Not Vince going, "It's fine." Like, you know what I mean? It's just.
It reeks of desperation, too, because I don't know if you've been keeping up with what these two have been doing on the indies. It's been really embarrassing for the both of them. Cass got fat. Enzo said he was quitting wrestling forever to do raps where he, slagged off the woman who was accusing him because, that's a good look.
That doesn't look bad at all.
No, that's not suspicious. And then the two of them got back together for that Ring of Honor show last WrestleMania weekend, but they didn't tell the New Japan guys that they were going to try and do a run-in and try and do a work shoot. And Tama Tonga and the whole New Japan guys were royally pissed with good reason.
Yeah. I don't think... I'm sorry, dude, but sometimes I think when you've developed the reputation those guys have, there's a really strong argument for stick to the fucking script. In their case, I understand that, like, if any other wrestler or personality was trying to come out there and do the big show and kind of, like, try to stir up the controversy, like sneaking into a WWE pay-per-view and making a ruckus in the crowd, literally any other wrestler could have done that. I would be like, holy shit, the balls on this guy. That is awesome. That is an amazing work. When Enzo did it, it was just like, you beat the shit out of him on the way out, right? Like,
for sure.
And I don't have, like, natural, like, oh, he's a heel hate for him. Like, just as performer, as a person, who his personality is, and what he's projected in and out of the ring, it's just, I can't get behind this guy. And it's one of those things where I'm not necessarily sure if I want to give this dude a second opinion. Cass seems like he's really made an effort to relabel himself and kind of be a better person, but
yeah, he kind of had the whole like, I had a seizure thing. I was really depressed because he was with Carmella, their valet, and they broke up apparently, and that's what started his downslide. She, ironically, of this trio, she's the one who did the best out of all of them.
She's doing great.
Oh yeah, she really is.
I mean, she can get an injury and she can just still come on and do on-screen work for a year, and they can keep storylines going with her that way. It's amazing because of how her character is.
She's
but yeah,
great partnership with R-Truth and everything. And they're both doing really well in the 24-hour scene there. But yeah, the thing about Enzo and Cass is, like, even at their height, were they that good? They could talk. They had a good gimmick. They had a thing that everyone, chanted along with. But here's the thing. They never put the titles on them in NXT for a reason, and the one title Enzo got was a punishment for him, but also supposed to be a boon for 205 Live, and is part of the reason Pac ended up quitting.
Yeah. Kind of weird how that all kind of backfired, right?
Tell me about it. It's just like, the only other thing they had going for them, too, is that they seemed like lovable goofballs, but now reality has taken over, and now I know they're not lovable goofballs.
Yeah, they're slimy and gross.
And even if they, tried to bring them back as slimy and gross heels, I'd be like, too real.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, sometimes the fiction and the reality, when they start to blend too closely like that, I can't do it.
The worst part, too, is that apparently when they're talking about bringing them back, the rumor is they wouldn't even be bringing them back for the main roster. They would be bringing them back for NXT, which we'll be talking about later, is undergoing some major creative changes. And I'm like, no, they really can't hang in NXT now when the work rate is higher than it's ever been before. They're going to stick out like sore thumbs.
Yeah. On top of that, I think they don't... And this is what scares me, is that, to his credit, Triple H really did just curate a special image with NXT. And it really did set it apart from the rest of the WWE brand.
Oh, yeah.
And right away, when you look at Enzo and Cass and who they are and what they project and what their shtick's been, even doing the indie circuit, which has been hard for them to find work for obvious reasons.
Oh, absolutely.
That it doesn't fit the NXT aesthetic. It doesn't fit what they're doing over there. And, like I said, this is just a Vince move. Like, you already had Bischoff taking over one of the nights. You've had, what's his name?
Heyman
taking over, which was a really smart move.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm sure wasn't Vince's idea, but someone pitched it to Vince, and then, like, a week later he came back and went, I've got an idea.
Yeah.
Everyone went, yeah, great. Just to see him, this is, like I said, there's so much transparency in this. Like, you can't even hide the fact that this is just a power move. I'm still Vince McMahon. I still have a say. WWE. It's an ego stroke, and to see this awesome product all of a sudden get snatched from the hands of Fox, where I think it would have been a much better product over on Fox, and kind of take them over to, was it USA is going to
we're going to talk all about that, but USA is going to be taking it. It's
just every, and this has all happened within the last couple of weeks.
Yes, it's
been very quick. It's all been very quick. You can see these decisions being made, and this isn't a Triple H move.
No, not
you can
at all.
tell like he's probably somewhere like trying to outlift himself in weights, trying to take out his aggressions.
Oh, if he had any
but
hair,
it's
he would
not.
have torn it out by now, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That poor
So-
man's aging like 20 years because of this. As the chat mentions, too, about the actual talent level of these two guys. Yeah, Cass was better in the ring than Enzo was, as if to say he was actually capable in the ring. He's a decent enough big man, but you look at that roster now, there's a lot of way more versatile big men. Like, Strowman can actually do shit now that Cass can't do.
Right.
And it's one of those things
Absolutely.
where it's like, what role would they even fill when coming back? Especially when they can't even find time on their roster for most of their people. And they'd be coming back for a tag division, which is a dead division anyway. They put Bobby Roode and Ziggler together for the next pay-per-view because they're like, well, we have nothing and we've buried our whole tag division.
Right. Yeah, there's the tag division just... You can only put so many personalities together, but like you need to still have... I like my tag teams to have a theme.
Totally, absolutely.
I know that sounds dumb, but they missed the mark with the Viking experience, whatever they decided to fucking end up their name with.
Poor War Machine.
But
they might be going back to NXT too. Is the
I believe it. Yeah, like the tag team division is just so lacking at WWE.
non-existent.
Yeah, as opposed to like AEW, who in just 3 pay-per-views have said that they have the best tag team division in the business right now.
And they arguably do, is the thing. And I like, here's the thing too, it's like, I talk about this all the time. I was a huge mark for Sanity back in the day, and I'm so sad that Sanity literally never got started.
Like they hyped that thing up so much, you're like, I can't wait, and then you just slowly started the promos disappeared, and you're like, what the hell happened?
Damo, he was on a podcast, again, I don't know if they've, blocked it now or whatever, but he was basically streaming, and he's like, I was a heater for a group that had no heat, and I'm like, oh, that's sad, but true.
And you let that out on the air.
Yeah.
That's on the internet now, man.
Yeah, that is. Again, I think they blocked that one, but hey, he's doing good now. He's actually having a pretty good program with Matt Riddle right now.
Good. Happy to hear that.
Rebuilding him as the solo beast he always should have been. All right, so our next story here involves Edge. So SummerSlam, Edge came out and had a whole little thing there with Elias, the dude who plays guitar. And he actually got more physical than he's ever been in years. And after that show, he said, I'm feeling good enough to wrestle now. Which is crazy if you know anything about Adam Edge Copeland. He retired with a terrible neck injury, like a career-ending neck injury, where they basically said, look, if you fall on this the wrong way, you will be crippled for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But apparently he's doing like what a lot of wrestlers are doing now, like Hogan and Nash. This new stem cell therapy is working miracles.
Oh, I didn't realize that's what that was the avenue he was taking as far as treatment goes.
Yeah, I think he's been doing a bunch of things, but I'm pretty sure the big defining thing is he's on the stem cells now, which all I can think is like, oh, good for you, Edge, another fellow Canadian doing so well. But in the back of my mind, too, I'm like, aren't you an actor? Aren't you why are you doing this now? Then I'm like, oh, Saudi Arabia paydays.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I think, if you've seen some of his Instagram right now, he looks like he's in the best shape of his life.
Which, again, makes me think some manner of return.
Yeah, and it really starts, you kind of come out and you start building hype with these guys, because, everyone's known who Edge is, and he's always had a presence on the app. And, his podcast and his, little silly side shows they're actually really enjoyable. They kind of really add to the whole atmosphere of the good stuff that WWE does.
Definitely.
And to kind of see that curtain get pulled back a little bit, and now he's back in the ring, and he's definitely hinting at things, and that the doctors are keeping an eye on him.
Oh, yeah.
But it also is just kind of scary because you look at somebody like Paige.
Oh, God,
who,
yeah.
Who I love her. Paige will always go down as one of my favorite just personalities in the company and in wrestling. But, she did the same thing. You can't wrestle anymore. Got back in the ring. And thank God she's so good on the mic that there's always going to be a place for her in that company.
Totally.
But but you hear about these injuries, and they really kind of do scare me. I don't want these people to, do you guys remember Puke?
Oh yeah, the guy he was in the Wrestling with Shadows documentary.
There you go. Puke was an awesome, dumb 14-year-old kids would love him. I did. But he got that injury, and I think he only wrestled maybe 6 months or something, and
like that. It was tragically short.
Yeah, and he's paralyzed, and you don't ever want to see that happen with these performers, even though they go out there and they just put everything on the line for these guys. It's like Edge. I love you, dude. Like, you're awesome, but maybe kind of start looking at, the Ghost of Christmas Past, so to speak.
And like also too, it's like I don't want it to be sad to like tarnish any of my memories, and also, as you said, I don't want him to get hurt. Yeah. And like those last couple like Undertaker matches in Saudi Arabia, it's like, please let this man stop.
Yeah,
he's gonna die out there. Is that what you want?
I'll never forget Undertaker's last match, quote unquote. Where, like, I hate to kind of ruin it for people, but like when wrestlers retire, they go out on their back.
Yep, always.
So that was and I thought it was the perfect match for him. And to kind of, like you said, that Saudi Arabia money keeps, and it's blood money, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
100%.
Like, I could not get involved. I don't know how those guys sleep at night. It's like, oh, by the way, the women can't perform, and this guy just really loves 90s wrestling. So I don't care if your legs are breaking like breadsticks. You got to get out there and make the payday.
So
like, I can't watch those.
If you can dig up the corpse of Yokozuna, we'd like that too, actually.
They would. Oh, they absolutely would.
Man, I feel bad for that Mansoor guy. If you follow him on Twitter, he's got like a pretty funny, Twitter page. Like, he's basically my age. Total meme kid, clearly grew up on the internet and everything. And I'm like, I'm so sorry for you, man. Your biggest accomplishment was an act of propaganda, and this will follow you around forever. And the worst part is, you probably couldn't even have said no, because you probably still have family that lives there, and you wouldn't have wanted to make waves.
Yeah.
It's the truth. And the fact that they build him up where it's like, oh, he's Saudi Arabia's champion, man, sir. He's the most, like, Americanized dude. I think his father's Greek, actually. So, yeah.
Well, it's like when they did the thing with Jinder Mahal. Like, I don't even think he's from...
No, he's from Canada.
Yeah.
He's from Calgary.
Yeah. Which, like, I wish he played that part up. I wish he didn't go into... Jinder's a great performer who, like, why do you... I can't watch it because they lean so heavy into the stereotype, which has always been a wrestling thing. I get that, but... Yeah.
And he's a nice dude, too. What is it? I forget what podcast I was listening to. He trained in the Heart Dungeon with Natty and with everyone else. And, like, yeah, just a dude from Calgary.
He's got that pedigree. He's got that Chris Jericho pedigree. He's got that Kenny Omega pedigree. And to see him I really do think, like, his talent's wasted in the role that they've painted him in is but, we could do this all night. Like, every conversation's going to go back to... But WWE Creative thinks this is the way to go with it. Yeah. And it's like, why?
I know. All right. So our next story here actually involves video games, and that is they announced the cover athletes, not athlete, for WWE 2K20, and it's going to be Becky Lynch and Roman Reigns sharing the cover, which I think is probably the best move they could have made.
Yeah, absolutely. Considering that one is way more popular than the other, and I'll let you guess which one it is.
Yeah, there you go. It's like, we're too afraid to put a woman on there, but we're also too afraid to put Roman on there, so let's put them on together and hope they cancel each other out.
Yeah, that's what it really felt like. Becky can't do any wrong at this point.
No, she is bulletproof in the best way.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to get so much heat for this, but, I mean, thank God for cancer, because Roman is so over right now.
It changed
and I never thought I would see the day.
That's what it took.
Like I said, I definitely not sure if people are cringing right now. Like, oh, is he going to talk about the cancer? Yeah. Who knows if it was real or not? Vince is that guy. Yeah, I did that. Vince is that guy who I'm like, nah, he would fake a cancer illness to put like one of his baby faces over the top because Vince can't be wrong.
No, and it worked because we saw him as a human being after that, and we felt bad because we were so mean to him for so long. It's like, oh, we don't like Roman Reigns, but, Joe Anawahi.
Joe fucking ruled, man. I love Joe.
Joe's a nice guy. I'm like, why can't Roman just be Joe? Joe seems like a cool guy to hang out with.
Yeah, Joe I want to get a beer with, and don't push him or too far, then he snaps. That's the character I definitely wanted to hang out with.
Totally.
So, yeah, that's but Becky definitely earned it. She belongs on the front of that.
Oh, yeah.
There isn't a video game curse with the wrestling, is there?
No, with football, I don't think there is. I think everyone who's been on the cover has been pretty good. I think the last couple of years, it was AJ was last year, Brock was the year before, et cetera, et cetera. So,
so they're safe, because I know like sometimes the video game box football, curse hits. Yeah. But, I mean, I love Becky. Again, she's earned it. She knows exactly what she's doing. I love the bride angle that she decided to go with.
Yeah.
She's arguably the best thing happening in WWE right now.
Yes, and it has been for a few years now.
And I'm not quite sure, like, I always feel like they're really reluctant just to give her the spotlight until the ratings pop.
Totally.
And then it's like, all right, I guess we'll make it about her. Becky 2 belts. I could have watched that for 2 years.
Oh, same. She's so cool. She's almost siphoning coolness from Seth Rollins, where it's like, the closer Rollins gets to her, the less cool he actually becomes in comparison.
It's true. Like, there's a lot of people like, yeah, he's Universal Champion, but he's not good enough for Becky.
No, he's not that. Man, they did an episode of Ride Along, which was them riding along together, and I'm like, oh my god, she's cooler than you even when you're just driving places.
Yeah. She absolutely is.
Yeah, it's the crazy thing. Well, here's another question, too, while we're on the subject of video games. What was the last wrestling video game you actually played?
Oh, you know what? The 80s Superstar one, because
Nice.
they have an emulator of that at my day job.
Oh, that's cool. See, here's the thing. Like, I never played the games for the longest time. I begrudgingly got into them, and everyone said, nah, Joel, you picked the worst time to get into them. They've never been...
That's what I keep hearing.
They've never been lamer and more cookie cutter. But Ukes, the company that works with EA on these, apparently they're, like, out of their contract now, or they're free to go do another project, and they're like, look, we're making another wrestling game. And everyone's saying, like, oh, is it going to be another Here Comes the Pain? Is it going to be something like that? And they're like, we can't tell you, which makes a lot of people jump to the conclusion, oh my god, are you making an AEW game?
I'd love to see that, but I mean, that's another conversation once we start getting to AEW, because that talks about their roster and their superstars and what their plans are for the future. So that's interesting to kind of talk about. That's a lot of speculation.
They're definitely playing into it, because I think during the last BTAE mailbag, I think one of the bucks they asked where it's like, will AEW ever have a video game? And he just said point blank, yes.
Dude, don't forget, guys, the cons are the ones funding AEW.
And they have deep pockets.
It's very deep. These are the guys that own the Jaguars, and that's just one of the things they own.
Yeah, and what is it, Tony? He's a massive nerd, too, where he's like, yeah, of course I want a video game for this. This is my thing that I put together. This is me playing with my action figures. You bet I want a video game.
It absolutely is. Like, I mean, this guy is going to pick and choose, like, his favorite wrestlers. He's just as jaded and upset about WWE, and he's a billionaire.
Yeah, he just had the money to do something about it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I wish if he had the same, like, drive about, like, world hunger, I'm sure he'd probably do something about that, too. But right now, it's the state of wrestling. So you gave the billionaire nerd kid his own company and a bunch of dudes who I have a lot of faith in. Like, they understand. Are we going to AEW? Well, we'll wait.
We will be in a second, but some fun stuff from the chat here. KT says the games need to bring back double title entrances. Yes, they do. Agreed. I hate that that's not a thing. Amazing Spider-Man says, Becky, she's like the Rogue. She steals popularity and charm from everyone she's around.
And she earns it. You watch her XP just keep doing this.
Yeah, boy,
every time she does it.
Oh, it's great. All right,
she was at Comic-Con.
Oh, really?
And I was still a good 50 feet away from her. My eyes, I could not look at her directly. Like, it was just like, she's too pretty.
It was like
she's too pretty.
It's like that bit from Harry Potter. What was it like to stand in the Dark Lord's presence?
That was exactly it. It was like, and then like Drake Mandrake was there too, and it was just like, no, out of the way, out of the way.
How tiny is he, Drake Maverick, in real life? The former rock star.
Horrible. He's an angry, adorable little dwarf.
Remember when he managed the Authors of Pain?
Yeah. Yeah,
Where did they go, the Authors of Pain?
That was there and done. You couldn't put those guys next to Mandrake and conceivably and believably tell me that guy was the manager.
I know. At least Paul Ellering, it's like, yeah, but he's old and crafty, though.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know. That was, every time they have Drake come out as, like, a manager or an advocate, I just giggle. Like, no, this guy is not... I hear he's a hell of a wrestler. I haven't seen him do it in a long time.
No, he hasn't. It's almost like they're afraid to let him wrestle a straight-up match.
Yeah, because he might be better than the people he's representing.
Yeah, tell me about it. Next up, speaking of talent, more NXT news here. Matt Riddle continues to poke at Goldberg. Every chance he gets, he really wants that match.
All right. Do you bring Goldberg into NXT?
I don't know, man. Or do you bring him up for a big show? Yeah, how do you make that work? I mean, I guess NXT is going to 2 hours on USA, and wouldn't that be a hell of a thing for their first pay-per-view?
Because that's where my mind went. I would think like, okay, if you want to, because again, Vince moves. Who do you bring down, quote unquote, to TNT or NXT?
Right.
To kind of raise the stakes of that when you've already got the superior product. But again, in Vince's mind, he wants that type of product to elevate NXT. And his again, I don't know why he views NXT as like the AAA now, because it really isn't. Like, it stopped being minor league a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
And but that's how his mind works. So he's thinking like, oh well, who can I bring that'll make NXT better? And it's like, well,
Got all them flippy kids, Hunter. Can you and your flippy kids do something about these young bucks?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
It's funny, too, with Riddle. I'm literally shocked he's not NXT champion right now. It felt like they were going to rocket strap him super hard, but I guess they had to finish the Gargano story, and maybe they don't know where it's all going right now before they get to TV in October.
So let me ask you, and people in the chat, because, like, one, I need to be filled in, and two, I'm just out of general, like, curiosity. Do you know what's going on with NXT storylines now? Ever since they gutted the roster and brought the 4 guys up to the main shows?
The answer is very little in storylines. Basically, they've been running in place. Everyone who's champion continues to be champion.
Okay.
Which is weird, because we're at the point now where it used to be NXT you could set your watch to, where it's like, all right, it's been like couple years now, it's time for these guys to start dropping their titles and get called up.
Right.
Oh no, you called those 4 guys up too early, and now you can't call up anymore. And now you get into these weird positions where it's like, well, don't you have Kushida and Keith Lee and Donovan Dijak working for it? Yes, but they're not on the new pay-per-view. No.
Yeah. Especially, like, you should have finished up storylines first before you bring those guys up.
Definitely. And God help you if you're the homegrown talent there. Like, poor Kona Reeves can't get a lick at this brass ring there.
No, not in the least.
But Bugenhagen there, it seemed like they were behind him for a week, and they're like, sorry, man, we got too much super hot indie talent. We can't actually create stars anymore, unless your name is Velveteen Dream, in which case...
This is true.
In which case, you're the fucking greatest, and you would have thrived anywhere, so naturally you climb to the top here.
Velveteen's one of those performers that I love that he's leaning heavy into it. I love that it's who it really is. I want to see more Velveteens, and I want to see more Sunny Kisses.
Oh, yeah.
I want those guys to be elevated. Especially when you have people like Kenny Omega, who is openly bisexual, and is definitely changed the fucking game.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm really excited for mainstream wrestling fans to discover who Kenny is.
Oh, yeah, without doubt.
Because, I mean, in my mind, he's still the largest wrestler. I think he's the best and biggest in the world right now.
He's the best belt machine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'm really excited to hear, like, if you explain to, like, the regular casual WWE fan who the Golden Lovers were, and how it was arguably one of the best storylines I'd seen in like 5 years, like,
totally.
I can't wait to see that regular mainstream audience discover who these guys are, and that type of work that they can do and those type of stories they can do. Like, that's what I'm here for. That's like what I'm popping popcorn for. Like, I'm so excited to see how the fans react when AEW goes live.
I get to meet Kenny Omega in London in October, actually. He's doing the London Comic-Con, and I'm a guest at the London Comic-Con.
Are you really?
Yes, I am. And I'm like, oh, can I meet Kenny? But of course, I know I'm in the artist section, so they put me all away from the big celebrities, but I'm going to be in the same room.
Yeah, you might as well go just say hello, and, the guy's awesome.
Totally.
I mean, Grant, he based his entire character on Mega Man.
Yes.
The guy's a video game nerd.
And Sephiroth. I am the one.
They did the Double Dragon triple bout, which was probably one of the coolest things I'd ever seen, and what wrestling was invented for.
Absolutely.
Kenny's awesome.
As the chat is saying there, I love Dream too, but as soon as he gets moved up, they're going to turn him into Stardust 2.0. Oh, that hurts because it's probably true.
Yeah. Chat called that one right. I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah. Ugh, that's a shame. But hey, you know what? The landscape is more open now than ever. If he doesn't like it, he can literally take his ball and go elsewhere now.
there's plenty of people that'll pick him up. Like, I mean, he's put himself over.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of New Japan, and we mentioned Ibushi and we mentioned everyone else. Here's just a short one here. At the last big New Japan pay-per-view, Kenta turned heel and joined the Bullet Club. Good for him.
Yeah. Good for him.
I always felt so bad for Kenta because his whole WWE NXT career is like, oh, he's the next big thing. He's a superstar. Oh, he keeps getting hurt. Shit. He keeps having to start over. Shit. Oh, sorry, Kenta, you're not the hot new flavor anymore. Let us introduce you to our friend Shinsuke Nakamura over here.
Oh, Shinsuke. Anyways, I think New Japan made the right move. The guy is a natural talent. He knows how to hype the crowd. If you want to really talk like conspiracy, like there's enough sympathy about him.
Oh yeah.
From because like you were saying, like he gets right there and then something happens.
Which is
so
what
to put
they
him
need
into
in the Bullet Club.
Yeah. So Bullet Club definitely needs to garner some sympathy. Sometimes they build up their storylines where now they're just the bullies.
Yep.
And that can get stale really quickly.
It certainly does.
No matter who the roster is. Putting him in the Bullet Club, super awesome. Adds a little bit more diversity because Bullet Club always kind of comes off as just like the Gaijin version of the wrestlers, the faction. It mixes it up. I think that's probably gonna really. Everyone's gonna look better in that situation.
Totally. How do you feel about Jay White as the newest leader of the Bullet Club? Because I know he's been a controversial pick so far. Where it's like, was he ready for this role? Should it have been him? Is he charismatic enough when you compare him to the last three guys who were leaders?
Switchblade wasn't ready. I liked him better on his own.
Same.
And I think he needed to be on his own a little bit more to kind of hone some of those skills. I think when he kind of started becoming Switchblade and really kind of figuring out what his shtick is and who his character is, and he's got the whole Charlie from Street Fighter hair, but he's a greaser, and I get that. He needed to kind of sharpen those skills a little bit more, so to speak. Sorry for the Switchblade puns, but
why are we building our character around a weapon you can't use in the ring?
Literally, yeah. At least Hangman's weapon kind of made sense.
Yeah, at least you can use a rope. Heck, even Triple H with the sledgehammer, I can use this. I can't use this. Anyone.
Yeah. Switchblade, it's no, you're getting checked before you come into the ring every time.
Yeah.
I think Jay needed to really work on his mic skills a little bit, and there's just times when you can see the call outs happen when he was in the ring. So to kind of put him in a group where he's going to have to start relying on other athletes. I don't know if he was ready for that yet. I think he need to be a little more refined.
DNG has a good one in the chat. Whenever I see Jay White, I can't unsee a young John Cusack. Thanks, DNG. Now I also can't unsee a young John Cusack.
That's it. That's absolutely it.
With Bullet Club 2 being as long-running as it is now, you run into a weird age gap, too, where it's why is Bad Luck Fale and Tama Tonga listening to Switchblade when they're older than him?
Doesn't make any sense.
I really think Tama Tonga should have been made the leader, if only for a little bit. I really think they should have, promoted from within for once, because it always feels like the poor Gorillas of Destiny have just hit their ceiling.
Right.
And
I can
there's
see that.
Just no more worlds for them to conquer now. They were Ring of Honor champions for a little bit. I'm that's cool, I guess. That's fun.
Now, that is something I love about New Japan, though, is that they will take storylines from other promotions and play with them.
Definitely.
And and I think that kind of really speaks to their crowd and their base.
Oh, yeah.
That just how clued into these people are. It's it's not just New Japan.
They
These guys
understand wrestling.
So all of it. So when you see this stuff kind of come in and bleed into their promotion, you see the crowds go insane, and two, you can see how their storylines kind of stay interesting because you can pull something that happened from 3 or 4 months ago in one match, bring that guy back after he's done filling obligations with another promotion, and it almost adds another layer of drama. It's just this long simmering thing that was happening in the background, and now they're here to settle it. I love that New Japan does that.
Perfect example. They got a British title up for grabs on their next pay-per-view, which, man, this Saturday is going to be crazy because you got Royal Quest for New Japan, you got NXT UK having a show, and, of course, you have All Out all on the same day because everyone's trying to counter-program each other now.
Yeah. Which two will you watch?
Definitely AEW without a doubt. I will probably watch the NXT highlights because I'm not watching NXT UK regularly. No offense to that show. They got a lot of good people on there. They basically bought up the entire British talent pool on the indie scene and torpedoed it. So if you were ever liking anyone, that's the show to watch. And I definitely want to watch the Kenta match and the Bullet Club matches from this now because I think there's actually some really good story in there.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's definitely what I'm interested in. But yeah, good for Kenta. It's nice to see he's finally, he finally gets a win.
No, I'm excited to see how they're gonna. Bullet Club's always an idea that will be there forever.
Oh yeah.
So they know how to massage it and make that storyline.
If only
get
for
some life out
shirt
of it.
sales, because it's still like one of the most selling shirts.
And people who aren't even like wrestling fans are like, that's cool.
Because they sell them at Hot Topic now.
That's it. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
Which is a huge victory. Now, I have been evangelizing this on the show for a bit now, and I know you would actually agree with this. Impact TNA got really good the last couple years, shockingly.
Impact is awesome, guys.
Man, dude, all ego Ethan Page in the North and all the other Canadian talent, because they're a Canadian company now. So, again, they basically bought up everyone on the Canadian indie scene and brought them there. Mm-hmm. Yo, Diener.
I've been to 2 Impact shows now.
Nice.
And I can't even begin to tell you, like, those guys are having a lot of fun because they're mixing up different schools of wrestling all together, and people are going apeshit for it.
They got Conan and Tommy Dreamer booking.
Oh, yeah. We watched Rhino and Tommy team up against the North.
That's fucking cool.
And I got to tell you, like, because the North are technical wrestlers. Oh, yeah. They're really good, and because of their age, they got to show off like their skills and their talent. To put them up against like a Rhino and a Tommy Dreamer, which by the way, Rhino looked great.
Yes, he did.
He bulked up in muscle mass and lost fat.
Does not look his age.
No, Rhino looked amazing, but you know these guys are veterans. The way they absolutely sold that match was brawling and experience beating out technicality. Mm-hmm. Absolutely a fun match.
They're hardcore all these years later.
Yeah, that's right. You don't fuck with Tommy Dreamer, dude. To the point where like it was a great serious match until they threw the comedy in, and it didn't skip a beat in the fight. At one point, you had the North hanging out outside of the ring. Tommy and Rhino are in the ring, and they're lined up against the far ropes. And the crowd starts screaming like, "Go for it! Fucking jump! Do this! Suicide jump! Do this!" And they look at each other. And like, are we? They're like, yeah, we absolutely are. And so they hit the ropes, get enough velocity, start running towards the North, and then they slow down and very gingerly climb out of the ring.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of jumping out. Crowd goes wild. Yeah, it was awesome.
Dreamer is like the only wrestler I've actually met in person so far. I met him in Philadelphia when I was there and shook his hand. Super, super nice guy.
Oh, yeah. He's very cool. I think he's very appreciative of the fact that Dreamer's going through a kind of a renaissance right now.
He is. Just a gent.
Yeah, he's wrestling guys who came up idolizing him. Mm-hmm. And he's still, he's not showing ring rust.
No,
like maybe he's not jumping off the third top rope anymore. But I mean, you bring out a trash can, and this guy is still the master of using props in a
He's great, and his protege from House of Hardcore, Lady Gata, who I think she's actually showed up on TNA a couple times, like bringing moose and stuff to the ring. She's like this 8-foot-tall Amazon woman, and she's just lovely and nice, too, and she, sold me a shirt and everything, and just great time.
Yeah, dude, Impact is still very much, DIY, excuse me, I'm tired. Those wrestlers are still selling their shirts after the show. They're still doing meet and greets. They're definitely out there handing out flyers and promotions because Impact lets them kind of do other little shows and house shows with other companies.
Ethan Page owns and operates A1 Wrestling, which is like 2 hours from me. In like Hamilton or something. I'm like, man, I should go to one of these shows because he's getting all the great talent who he's friends with to come and do matches there.
Have you been? How many indie shows have you really done?
I did Smash in London a few years ago because they actually set up a ring for a convention there.
That's cool.
That was the one. That was like my one thing there because again, it's a new thing for me going to wrestling shows. I'm a late in life fan. I don't know if people know that.
No, it's now that it's starting to. Indie's blowing up.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of us that are really excited for this. Like, I love the fact that we've talked AEW, which is going to come up against WWE, but we're also talking New Japan and Impact in the same show.
Oh yeah.
And
it's big. It's a boom.
It is. And these indie promotions, you get scared because these guys are absolutely putting everything on the line to really just stick out from the rest of the crowd. Yeah. But you're also seeing stuff that you wouldn't normally see in the mainstream. Yeah.
Totally. The other thing, too, about Impact that I want to bring up, Cali Combat was a thing they filmed a couple weeks ago. That might have been one of the shows you were at, actually. And apparently the idea is that they filmed this special, because they do a lot of specials, Impact. That's another thing that kind of differentiates them from the Fed. And the idea is that they filmed this as a kind of backdoor pilot for a second Impact show, because they're getting a new TV deal and they have Twitch and Pursuit and everything. And I'm like, wow, what a crazy world to live in where Impact might actually get a second show.
Yeah. The audience is there. I've been to, like I said, both Impact shows sold out. Like, it was hard to get tickets.
I think the idea behind this one is that it would be like more like kind of backstage reality show-esque with like wrestling matches as like kind of a wraparound to it.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
Make that happen. Different. Absolutely.
It's definitely different. It had kind of like a early MTV, like Jackass aesthetic to it. And I'm like, I could deal with that. And like a lot of people on the roster are genuinely funny in their sketches and everything. So yeah, let them do more backstage stuff.
Now, let me ask you, like, when you look at, because I mean, again, when I ask Joel, I'm also asking the chat.
Right.
When you start to see the talent start to do things like being the elite. And that's how AEW kind of started, was them just fucking around with an iPhone and making videos.
You know, everyone does it.
Everyone does it. Are you seeing... I'm trying to find the right way to say this. So if it's scripted in WWE versus 4 people brainstorming how cool it would be if their characters interacted in like an indie situation,
right.
What are you genuinely enjoying more?
Oh, definitely the stuff that's just people who are enjoying it, because their enjoyment bleeds into my own enjoyment, and that's good. Yeah. I hate feeling, and again, you know, Dean Ambrose hit this nail perfectly in his Jericho interview, where it's like, I hated coming into work every day. I hated what I had to read, and that's why I just didn't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, dude. Like, I think you can only play that part so many times when these people are reading. I mean, Moxley's his character.
Yes.
Like, he started Mox.
And who he is.
And he knows. So he is such a renewed person because of Mox.
Oh, yeah.
Watching him with his swagger and kind of talking out of the corner of his mouth, and his promos have definitely stepped up. I mean, like, he was kind of the best stuff after All In. Like, it was like, holy shit. Like, yeah, like he knows who that character is supposed to be, who he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
When I see that with the indies, and I see this with AEW, and I see it with Impact, like, these characters, these people know so wholeheartedly who they're supposed to be because they have a vision. Like, I would hate to be someone who's been working on this persona or like this play or this, you know, gimmick for 3, 4, or 5 years, and like, here's a paycheck, this isn't working, this is what we need you to change. Like, to put that much effort into something like that, it would be heartbreaking.
No, without a doubt. But yeah, so that's what's going on in Impact. Good shit in Impact. For those who haven't been watching it, there's actually lots of ways to watch it. You can stream it. They're at the forefront of streaming with Twitch and everything. This thing you're watching right now.
Yeah. In fact, if you go over to the Impact Wrestling channel, they're showing episodes.
Yes, they sure are.
And also, the 3-2-1 or 1-2-3, they're great too.
Yeah, totally. Our second to last story here involves the USA Network, and we alluded to this before. Come October, to compete with AEW, NXT is not only going live, but moving to 2 hours now. And everyone collectively has been like, ooh, that's not a good idea.
No, it is not.
That's going to ruin so much of the charm, because it is like filmed way in advance, and they can edit it and make changes, and they can do all this stuff that they can't do when you're live. And, you know, it's great. NXT is great because it's short, unlike Raw and SmackDown, which I had to cut from my diet because it just fucking takes too long to get to the point. It takes too long.
I can't watch 6 hours of that show anymore.
No.
Like, that's why I cancel my WWE. Like, if it's super important and someone hypes it up, I can catch the rerun on Hulu if I really need to.
And it's 6 hours of content a week where nothing happens.
Yeah.
is the crazy part. At least with NXT, it's an hour, it's to the point, shit is happening, we're building feuds, we're having blow-offs, we're introducing new characters, so you never know what an episode is going to bring, because every episode is going to be something different.
What I loved about, especially with NXT, with like an hour show, like you could do a squash match and it played directly into a storyline. Yeah. Like, oh my god, can you believe he went down in less than 30 seconds? Totally. Like, what's next week going to be like? Like it played into the time constraints.
Absolutely.
A squash match now is like someone came out and made an appearance.
Yeah, that's it.
You know,
it's a real shame, but yeah. So the other thing too, people are worried about, and there's really no confirmation if this is true or not, but I believe it. The idea is that if the show does become a live product, Kevin Dunn gets to exert a little bit more control over it now on behalf of Vince, because they have a certain level of quality, as they call it, for live television.
Okay. All right.
Which, again, people love NXT too, because it's like entirely 100% Triple H's baby.
It is, absolutely. Let's start this. Do you think it's going to work?
I really don't know as it stands right now. I really don't know how they're going to do this. Because again, too, here's the other thing people forget about NXT. It's a school, too. It's a farm league on top of that. So again, you're probably not going to see the Kona Reeves and the Street Profits and the other like characters who are there for the learning aspect of it, because they're not going to send them out on television where they could potentially screw up. And I know some people have argued too, where it's like, well, is NXT even that anymore? Because they keep just buying up the hottest indie stars and keeping them at the top of the card. Long gone are the days when like Bull Dempsey could have a match with someone in a takeover, or Austin Aries would have a feud with No Way Jose that was like a month-long feud.
And don't forget, like, NXT, like, when they set up its farm leagues, these were the guys, they sent NXT out and they started taking over other smaller schools and indie promotions.
Yep.
So NXT's got house shows going on all the time with people you've never heard of before. And I'm really curious how do you reformat your farm league?
Yeah.
Which is also your biggest product right now.
Yes, the most critically acclaimed.
Thank you for, that's what I was going to correct myself on. Around this sudden, like, you know what, USA, and now we're gonna do things live, like,
and to do it solely out of spite. Like, they wouldn't have done this if AEW wasn't a thing, but they're like, no, we need something to compete on Wednesday night. What do we have that we can move to Wednesday night?
Well, and this is the other thing that I was kind of like rummaging around. AEW has gone on record saying that they're going to really approach it more as a sport.
Yep.
So wins and losses will absolutely count. Percentages, like, how does Omega do when so-and-so uses their finishing move on them? Like, what are the percentages? What are the odds of him pulling himself? Which, give me stats. Give me all the stats. I want stats.
Khan is a stats guy. That's where he made his money.
So, yeah. Almost had NXT on Fox.
Yep.
Which would have legitimized the sports aspect of it.
Yes, but Fox is already getting SmackDown, and Fox is like, why do we need 2 wrestling shows?
Right. So I don't know if NXT on its own now live, which is going to start looking like, the Bud Light of Raw.
Are we also going to get more pay-per-views now? Because that was the other great thing about NXT. They didn't overdo it with pay-per-views. Every takeover felt special because they only did them to coincide with the 4 big other pay-per-views. Yep.
So, I mean, will it be special anymore? Will it still be the same thing? Will it still have the same flavor? Is this improvements? Like I said, it's all Vince.
Yeah.
Took less than a month for all this to start go in motion. But
and I'm sure that like scared the crap out of them. They're like, what do you mean we have to do this in a month? What do you mean we're moving in October?
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense.
You know who this really
and
behooves,
you said it best. These are all moves done out of spite.
Absolutely. Totally 100% spite. You know who this move really behooves, though? USA, because they just lost SmackDown, but now they're just getting NXT, and they probably got it for cheaper, too.
Oh, yeah. They're happy to get their hands on any type of product like that right now.
Yeah. But yeah,
I think so.
There's our last Fed piece of news there. Our last piece of news is, of course, the main event of the podcast, and that is our actual predictions for AEW All Out coming this Saturday.
This is what I've been looking forward to. Let's talk.
There we go. I got the whole card in front of us.
Yes.
So let's start with what they're calling the Women's Casino Battle Royale, which I like that they're still calling it the Casino Battle Royale, even though they're not in Vegas anymore.
I know, I like that, and they're still keeping with the same theme of each group picked a certain deck of card, whatever suit comes out or comes up, which it's all bullshit. But I'm still like, I'm in the kayfabe. Like, yes, who pulled what next?
The fact that Jake the Snake was the dealer, it's like, let's play 22.
Those were awesome promos, by the way.
Sure were.
Those were great. Let's see.
We have.
Am I gonna fall in love with my favorite new wrestler, Teal Piper?
Yeah. So they're really pushing the hell out of Teal Piper on the web series and everything. Which I didn't even know Roddy Piper had a daughter. Didn't even know.
No one did.
Because he wanted her out of the industry, which I'm like, that's fair.
Yeah, she was she's an actress. She does like Blumfield horror films under a different name.
That's crazy.
Which already, like, you have my heart.
Yeah, that's a good way to endear yourself to the fans. People who love wrestling also love schlocky horror movies, so there you go.
Yeah. So my big one right now is I want to see how Teal does. I know that they've been really pushing Brandy more as a wrestler as opposed to Arm Candy.
Right. But I don't think she'd put the title on herself. I think they're smart enough to be like, no, we can't put the titles on ourselves. That'll look really bad. That's a Vince move. That's
something I want to talk about, like, going into these matches. But Brandy's awesome. She's great on the mic. I love her presence in the promotions. But truth be told, she still looks like she wrestles underwater.
She's still learning. She's learning on the job at a very high level. That's why I think it's so clever that they put her together with Awesome Kong, who can be her enforcer. And I'm like, that's perfect. There you go.
That's perfect.
Brandy
Absolutely
talks
perfect.
shit, Kong finishes it.
Mm-hmm. I'm really excited to see. My hot take for AEW is that they hands down have the best tag team.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Division. Hands down.
Out of doubt, easily.
I think this will be. And they've already proven that with their other pay-per-views. I think the big focuses on this will be that a lot of people have had their doubts about their men's division. You've got some big names. You've got some of the best wrestlers wrestling for them.
Thank you, Kathy, for following on Streamlabs there. I'm always sure to do that. Good job.
Yeah. Thank you. I definitely think that they have something to prove with their men's division. I think they're really going to showcase the women's. Like, I mean, Brett Baker, she is a headliner, and you're putting her in the pre-show.
Yeah, she's the favorite. Here's the weird thing about this, too. It's a battle royale where the winner gets a buy-in for the women's championship, which they will be crowning on the first episode of their television. It's weird to do the buy-in before you actually have an opponent for them to go against.
Right.
They're kind of booking this backwards.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
But there's probably a method to the madness. I think also this is going to be like testing grounds. Like, we're going to see a lot of people we weren't expecting. Mm-hmm. There's going to be some new names in there.
There's several, actually. I have the list up in front of me.
Perfect. I need it because I was looking for it and I couldn't find it.
They got Eva Lise from Lucha Underground. She's one of their big new acquisitions. It's funny. Her whole gimmick, I'm sure people will look at her and be like, isn't that what Mia Yim is doing? Yeah, but it's different. She was doing it in Lucha Underground.
Right.
A lot of gimmicks are like that. They have Jazz, who I've never heard of Jazz before, but holy shit, Jazz is cool. She's got like this big Baroque ornate mask, and she's got like these giant python arms, and she's a big bald black woman. I'm like, I am in love with Jazz already. She looks like a savage killer.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is definitely going to be the Joker theme from Dark Knight, where someone's going to break the pool cue and like, hey, we're having auditions, and there's
who wants it.
Yeah, I think this is going to be it. I think that's exactly what they're going to use this battle royale for.
They were also building up the animosity between Awesome Kong and Aja Kong. Awesome is going to be in the match for sure. We don't know about Aja. This would be a good way to have them to have a match and have a bit of a blow off without actually needing to book a whole thing. Because, again, Aja is a legend, and, they do a good job of hiding her limitations now. And I do kind of like the idea that they're getting the rub from the older women in the same way that, like, the WWE would keep trotting out, like, old dudes. And, like, equality in that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm like I said, I'm just... Roddy Piper's my favorite wrestler. So I know I'm fixated on Teal, but out of nowhere,
of kilts, I wonder why he's your favorite.
Yeah, exactly. And he's a Scotsman. He was the best heel in the business, and his job was putting other people over. And I admire everything that guy ever did for the company and for the business in general. So yeah, like you throw me his daughter, who's not leaning into the same shtick.
No, which is
because
really
that's,
nice.
Yeah, and it's ruined by Ronda as far as I'm concerned. I'm sorry, that's a hot take, but
yeah. I don't give a damn. Yeah, we know you don't.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, whatever. I'm very excited for that. I want to see what the women's. I've been pleasantly surprised with the women's division so far, but I don't think it's really been as showcased as they would have liked.
No, the Joshis are actually higher up on the card for this one, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm saying Britt Baker, you're saying Teal.
I think Teal's not going to walk away with the whole thing, but we're definitely we'll figure out whether she's going to be a face or a heel. I think she's going to be a heel.
That's true.
And I want to see how far she gets by cheating, and I'm really excited to see that.
There you go.
I want to see her cheat.
The chat also asking a good question. How can you watch AEW now? The Fight Network app is, I think, the main way people watch it. That's how I watch it. I know they usually...
Out here in America, we're doing BR Live, Bleacher Report Live.
BR Live, yes, that's the other one. They got a good deal working out with them. They don't have a YouTube pre-show this time. They had one for the last couple ones, which actually had tech problems, which makes me wonder that's why they're not doing them anymore.
Well, this one, I think BR Live is doing the pre-show. So you go on BR Live and you'll do the pre-pay-per-view bouts, and then you decide right then and there to press the button, and you get to keep watching.
Smart. And again, if you already have the Fight TV app, they're like, yo, buy it now, is the emails they sent out now. Buy it now.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the women's match there. Some different theories there going in. Next up, we have one of two pre-show tag matches: the Private Party versus Angelico and Jack Evans.
I'm giving this one to Private Party.
Same. They have been ordained by the Young Bucks. They have given them the rub. They are the Bucks' pet project. I think it is undeniable. Also, the fact that Evans and Angelico have not actually won a match since they've been in this company.
Not yet. When I was lucky enough to do All In. I was there live, and
so jealous.
Dude, they were just working the crowd around the area. But when I finally did get to watch them wrestle, I did not know who these guys were.
Right.
And I walked out, they're like, yep, I'm a fan. You guys fucking knocked it out of the park. So to make that type of impression, to kind of do the tricks that they were doing, and like you said, they are Young Buck proteges.
Yes, I think this is going to be a big showcase match for them.
It's going to be massive for them. And I think we're gonna see that happen first.
Not only do I think these guys are going to win this match, but I think they have a very good chance of making it to the finals of the tag tournament overall.
Yep. Absolutely.
But they're not my number one pick. We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Next up, we have, this is going to be a fun one. This one just got announced not too long ago, which is why we wait to the last minute to do these shows. But it's going to be SoCal Uncensored versus the Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, and Marco Stunt. That is the little man who looks like he's 12 years old.
I don't know what to do with Marco Stunt. I don't know what to do with this guy. But he always, every match, he ends up pulling off probably arguably the best stunt of the night.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
Like, also a massive fan of Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy.
Can't love them.
I love the dinosaur and his boy angle.
They're
fucking
arguably
dope.
the two most over people in the company right now. Like that last match they had where it was them versus the Dark Order and everyone else. People were so horny for them. People just loved them so much.
I've got goosebumps from this one because Jungle Boy, everyone knows, his father was Luke Perry. And when he came into AEW, he had the sympathy with them. But he left that ring like, fuck you, I'm really good at what I do. And everyone took notice of it.
Absolutely.
He's killer. Like, he's not just a name or a pretty face. Like, you can scoff all you want at the concept of Jungle Boy because of his hair and his whole shtick, but no, he's someone that you're going to watch for the next few years, and he's just only going to get better. He's already great at it to start with.
He's really good. The teamwork they have is great. And it's I love the commentators are even trying to build a story around. It's like, yes, Luchasaurus and his ward Jungle Boy. I'm like, ward? Is he fucking Batman? Did he adopt a Jungle Boy? Did they fight crime at night?
Any comic book reader worth their weight is like, this is totally a Savage Land story made for me. I'm so into it. I love them. You can't help but root for those guys.
And I think they're winning this match because SCU, it's like they're already established. They've have jobs within the company. they can lose and have it be fine. And I think they would want to lose to these guys to be like, no, we're going to put them over because they're that good.
I'm going to agree with you on that one. I think that one's going to them. I don't think SCU's going to win this one right away.
Yeah, because it's like Kazarian and Daniels, they're already legends in the industry. They're already like, you know, they've written their checks long ago, and they can win and lose, and it doesn't affect them at all.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What else do we have here? Okay, more tag team action here. This is for the tag championship buy-in, and it is the Best Friends versus the Dark Order.
Okay.
Two good more Canucks in the Dark Order, Evil Uno.
Best Friends are a lot of fun to watch wrestle. Even though I have no idea what their intro music's all about.
Neither do I.
No one, it's aliens and things. No one fucking knows what to make of that. That said, they've got awesome chemistry. They work great with each other. They can definitely hold their own with upper echelon of tag team champs. Unfortunately, I think the Dark Order just have such a good story going for them.
The bad guys have to win.
Yeah.
So they can be defeated by good guys for the actual title.
I think the Dark Order definitely needs a bigger push in the company going into the television show.
I mean, they're kind of the top tag heels right now as it stands. There's no like everyone's kind of riding the line in AEW. They're being good to their word of like, no, we'll let you decide who the good guys and bad guys are.
Absolutely. Like, I love the Lucha Brothers. I have no idea if they're good or bad yet.
Nope. And because they don't cut promos in English, we're not going to know. Maybe get a Spanish friend to translate for us.
Yes, it's true. But God, they're so good in the ring. Anyways, the Dark Order, they've done too many good in-ring promos as far as the lights coming out and having, like, the swarm of, like, minions that come out and surround the ring. Like, it's so good. Like, that is... I love whoever was like, all right, so here's what we do. They put the joint down. They had the idea, and I'm into it. So I don't think the Best Friends are going to come out clean in this one.
I think it'll be close. Maybe they'll win via cheating. Maybe the minions get involved in everything.
I think so.
It's like, look, the Best Friends lost, but it wasn't their fault because the bad guys cheated.
Right. I'm excited to see what the next power the Dark Order has. Like, because these guys are mystical. They have powers, man. They have tricks.
They have roly-poly Canadian magic is what they have. Man, for those who don't know, Evil Uno never used to be Evil Uno. He used to be called Player Uno, and he was a guy with like a Super Mario Brothers video game theming. But
Wait, that's the same guy?
Yes. Evil Uno is Player Uno, and Stu Grayson is Dos.
No idea.
Yep, that's them.
All right, well,
what a late-life character reinvention for this guy. Where it's like, I'm going to be evil now.
Why not?
He's good at it.
Yeah,
I respect
he's really good at it.
He is. Love the mask. Like, I would want to own my own version of that mask.
Yeah, he's definitely like he is the sleazy 80s like mob boss villain. Absolutely.
Next up, we have what could very well be match of the night. It's definitely the match I am the most excited for, and that would be Darby Allin versus Jimmy Havoc versus Joey Janela in what they're calling a Cracker Barrel match. The Cracker Barrel from the original All In will be back and will be in play.
It's funny that you say that. I think this is going to be the match of the night also.
Yeah, because these guys are just insane, and they're willing to die for their art, and they're willing to hurt each other, and they're going to hurt each other a lot.
Well, and I think AEW has a lot riding on this match for a couple of reasons. One, that Joey is so good at hyping himself up.
Oh, yeah.
That he's got eyes on him now.
Oh, yeah.
Darby Allin is a person I did not know, and then after I saw him do the coffin drop with his Cody match, you'll never hear me say a bad word about that. He's now a person I'm watching.
Dude's amazing.
And on top of that, even when he's losing, he knows how to sell better than almost anybody else in the industry right now.
Oh yeah,
I could watch him get beat up and enjoy myself.
This also isn't the first time him and Havoc actually had a huge feud in Evolve Wrestling, actually, which they did a sick spot where he did the body bag thing where he got in, but of course, because it's Jimmy Havoc, fills it with tacks.
Of course.
And I'm like, okay, so how are you going to top that now in this? Because you already did that. Are you going to set it on fire now?
Who knows? The other reason why I think this is a lot riding on this match is that, aside from being a hardcore, AEW is going against the grain as far as the glamour muscle, super roided out look.
Totally.
AEW is trying to sell their audience on what can and can't be wrestling, and they're trying to really open up people's conceptions of what wrestling is. So when you have these three kind of average physique dudes coming out who are not the 6'7"
they look like
gladiators
dudes you'd meet at the bar.
Yep. And these are the dudes that are wrestling and pulling off some of the most insane stuff that you want. They're trying to get the audience to warm up to this concept a little bit more. And that's why I absolutely think this is the match of the night. I think these guys are about to give way more than we were ever expecting, especially for a pay-per-view. And this will definitely kind of set the precedent for a lot of the quote-unquote cruiserweight fighters in AEW.
I would say even more, like, these guys are the bulk of the mid-card right now. And my money's got to be on Jimmy Havoc because he was one of the first guys they signed. They clearly have a love and admiration for this dude. And also, he's been on the losing end of a lot of efforts in the tag stuff, and the Battle Royale stuff. He could use a win.
He's due for a W, man.
He could really use it. Where Darby, it's like, Darby lost to Cody, but he did it in amazing fashion. And Janela lost, but he did it in, like, one of the first major actual hardcore matches.
I can't even call that a loss against Mox.
Just,
just making it out at the other end of that match is a victory for me as far as I'm concerned.
It's victory enough. So, that's definitely a match to watch right there. Next up, we have the Joshi match, Riho versus Hiroku Shida. Now, I had to research this one, actually. Riho has been on every one of these shows, but I don't think we've only seen Hikaru once.
Right. I think the winner of this match will be whoever out-cutes the other.
They're both pretty adorable. Although, that being said, what is it? I've seen some pictures there of Hiroka, and she's pretty mean-looking, too. She's got a sword and everything else there. She's pretty tough. I think it's easy to tell who the heel and who the face is in this dynamic.
Yeah, I don't think you have a say in trying to decide who gets to be the face in this one.
Here's the crazy thing, too. Did you know Kenny Omega actually has a major hand in booking all the Joshi stuff? Probably because he speaks fluent Japanese and everything. But that's like his pet division.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I'm really stoked about. I mean, I want to see more of that over here in mainstream wrestling.
And that seems to be what they're doing here. I think Riho is going to get the feel-good win on this one because she's been on all these other shows here, and that this will be a really good way to launch her as the Joshi babyface to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I'm with you on that one.
That should be a good one, and pretty high on the card, too.
Yeah, I think everyone's got something to prove, and I hate to be like that promo guy, like, everyone's got something to prove in this match. Of course, duh. But
they're at work right now.
They're definitely introducing new concepts to a new audience.
It's such a nice variety, too,
pressure.
where it's like, hey, here's a Joshi match after the hardcore match.
Yeah.
Now, the next one we have here, one of the biggest ones of the night, Cody versus Shawn Spears, and also with Tully Blanchard in his corner, and Cody with a mystery ally in his corner.
That'll be interesting. Are we taking bets on who the mystery ally is? Is it someone? Is it? Are we introducing a new face to AEW?
That's a good question, because it's like, Cody has so many friends, though. His wife, his dog, DDP,
his brother? I mean, what's going on?
His brother, who just signed a big new contract with AEW.
That happened today?
It sure did. A lot of people, I cannot claim coming up with this theory, but I just love it so much. So Arn Anderson doesn't work for WWE anymore, and him and Tully and Dusty and everyone had a lot of history together in the NWA. Wouldn't that be something to be like, hey, Shawn Spears, you have a horseman, I have a horseman too?
That's a good one. Who came up with that theory?
I think that was, Jack from Cultaholic.
Gotcha. Okay, no, I'm with that.
And also, too, it's like, look, Arn is still good enough to go. He can still probably give a spine buster to somebody.
I think with a pay-per-view, they are going to try to pull out one big, gimmick guest.
Totally.
I mean, I know that we're getting ready to kind of set the status quo as far as going to the TV show.
Yeah.
But the first few pay-per-views definitely had, let's bring out Bret Hart and show off the new, belt. There's room to have one more big, oh my God, I can't believe he appeared, moment.
People with some great theories in the chat, too. What about Ted DiBiase Jr., his other legacy buddy? What if he were to come out? He doesn't wrestle anymore, but it would be fun to see him.
Cool to see that.
Make a nice little connection there. It's like, hey, we got a Piper, we got a DiBiase, a Rhodes, etc., etc. Here's one that no one's actually mentioned so far. So, what is it? A certain Chicago-made Punk is going to be at StarCast.
Oh,
And
are
I know
we?
people always hold out on that dream.
I would love that, but for me, in order to sleep better at night, I've just accepted that he's retired.
I know, but did you see the video
I
he
know.
did where he's fucking around in the ring? You'd be like, and I'm not going to cancel on StarCast. I promise. I'm going to be
Yeah,
there.
yeah, he's going to be there. I'm very excited for that horror film that he's starring in.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
It actually looks really good.
The Soka sisters made that, yeah?
Yep, and
They're
he's
Canadians.
and also another Bloomfield.
Hey.
I'm a horror film guy. I am ready to watch him be in the crowd, and that being enough for the hype.
At
I
least, like, co-sign it by being there is the thing. That's
yeah,
all we really need.
I think all we need is just him to show up and like have a beer, watch it like everybody else, and that will really kind of like give the validation that AEW is looking for.
Which it's like, hey man, come on, Phil. That's the least you can do. At least come and co-sign this, please.
Yeah, that's the most I'm gonna get. Like I said, I sleep better at night just accepting that he's retired. Like having him come in masked for a couple of those shows and
fun.
rocking like the GTS was like, that's great. But he had history with those venues, and of course he wanted to kind of see the end of those happen. He's definitely been fishing around more for commentary jobs.
Definitely.
Which I think he's really good. I mean, man cuts the best promo, so yeah, put him in a commentary situation somewhere. I would love to see him actually join the commentary crew on AEW. Because
if they didn't just get Tony Schiavone.
Yeah, because I think that they need to kind of do some rotating on their commentators.
Marvez is the problem. Excalibur is great. Marvez
Excalibur's awesome.
Yeah.
He's so good. We watch him do PWG, and he's amazing.
JR is a legend, but he's also getting up there in age, and he has trouble remembering people.
And you can kind of hear him like ruffling the pages while he's trying to keep track of the notes and like the storylines.
I'm not saying get rid of him, but only bring him out for people who he has history with. Like, obviously, when he's going to call that Cody match, he's going to call it really well because he knows all the history and all the
so
players.
Good. Yeah. I can't. For my heart, I can't play into the CM Punk theories anymore. I really can't. I would love it. I would love to see Punk go out and just do one more quick run at AEW, retire the champ, and there you go. Totally. But I think he's happy being who he is right now.
So who's walking away from this match with Cody and Sean Spears here? Cody, against all odds, has won every match he's done. So.
This is why I think you can't have all the vice presidents winning their matches going into the TV show.
Yeah, kind of. But I think this would be a good way for him to lose because he's like, well, yeah, Sean's my friend. We tagged together in OVW and everything, and he needs a win here. And also really establish himself as the top heel on the show. Well, top heel, he's not MGF. MGF is top heel on the show.
He's the top heel on the show.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, I'm thinking Spears is walking away as the victor in this one.
Because it would just, like, feel better for him to win, and also that means this feud can continue.
Yeah, but, I mean, the two of them feud great.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not to mention, like, I still watch that chair hit, and dear God. But
I showed it to my mother, who was a nurse for like 30 years, and she's like, oh, yep, he's lucky he doesn't have brain damage. That's the skull breaking open at the back right there. That's like a bunch of staples right there. She just went right back into it. It's like, what am I going to have to do to fix this shit?
Yeah. Nope, I think if you want a good, strong rivalry going into the TV show, Spears definitely walks away. And not just this fight, like their next couple of matchups.
Yeah. I'm so glad he got rid of the Ty Dillinger hair and got the mohawk thing going.
He looks great. Yeah. I like the reinvention on him.
I'm like, hey, can I get away with that haircut? I try that haircut for a little bit. All right, so then after that, we have a big match that was changed, actually. It was supposed to be Moxley Omega to settle the bad blood, but Moxley has a staph infection in his arm. Apparently, like, the worst kind of staph infection you can get. It's got a special name.
MRSA.
MRSA, yeah. So
it fights typical, regular...
antibiotics
don't work on it. You actually have to have it surgically removed.
Oh, no, that's horrible.
Yeah.
But, so he's out, and in his place, they got Pac, the former Adrian Neville, who was supposed to be, Hangman Page's opponent a couple pay-per-views back, but then there was some Dragon Gate fuckery in there, and they ended up having the match, but not on the show. And now he's back here, and I wonder, I'm like, has all of that been settled? Was he always going to come running out anyway?
I think there's hope for this, because the fact that it even got settled at all in any ring showed that
they cared.
Yes. And I think don't get me wrong, I'm just as upset that Mox is not going to be doing this fight, but in a weird kind of Trojan horse sort of way, I think this is going to work out better for AEW in the long run.
Yeah, I think these two are going to put on a clinic here and everything. It's so funny. In the Elite episode where they talked about this, they're like, oh man, Mox is out. What do we do? Well, we could just put Kenny in the main event and make it a triple threat. Nah, that's what WWE would do. We got to find a replacement.
Yeah. I think it definitely shows like Pac has got a commitment to AEW. He's probably one of the best big personalities they could have scored. I don't know if it's like a contract sort of situation or if it's a one-time thing yet.
Yeah, well, I think the deal was that he couldn't lose before because he was Dragon Gate champion, and that was a whole. I don't know if he's still Dragon Gate champion or what the deal is.
I'm hearing that he still is.
Okay, he still is. So. And in that case, maybe he's not losing, or maybe it'll be like a disqualification or something. Furthermore, Kenny actually has a losing streak for solo matches in AEW.
That's why I was we haven't really seen Kenny shine like he normally does.
No.
He has been playing the part of putting other people over, making the other opponent really shine. Man, you can take Kenny Omega. There's a future for you.
Absolutely. Which good on him for taking all of that goodwill that he built up in Japan and everywhere else and said, no, I'm going to make some stars here.
Yeah, and I think Pac is definitely walking out of this one on top. I think, again, when you've got when four of your biggest stars are your executive vice presidents.
Well, now according to the Bucks, they say they actually wanted to lose all their previous matches, but it was actually Khan who stepped in and go, no, I want you guys to win because you're my favorite.
Yeah. I think about in the long run what's best for the company and the product and what's going to make it worth watching. And
we'll talk more about that when we get to the main match.
Yeah, I definitely want to see. I don't want to see Kenny lose, but I think I want to see AEW succeed.
Absolutely.
So I think Pac winning this would be fantastic for everybody. Because Pac can really feud with anyone.
Yes, he can. He's a bastard.
Yeah, and I would love to see a three-way feud between him, Kenny, and Mox.
Absolutely.
I think he could do it. I think he could absolutely do three guys feuding with no teams being made.
Yeah.
No alliances being formed. I think you could absolutely do that storyline.
Totally. And the roster is small enough now where it makes sense.
Absolutely.
Isn't a nice manageable roster just a lovely thing?
It's really, they really only need to round it out with a couple more personalities, and it's going to be perfect.
And I think they will. There's a mystery tag team coming for the first episode of television on Chris Jericho's team, and a lot of people are already assuming that it's LAX.
Might be. That's what my money is on it, too.
I'm down for that, because again, hey, if you want, a place to go for tag team wrestling, that's the place to go.
Absolutely.
Also, Lich Lord Chris says we're suddenly echoing. That's weird.
Are we? I'm sorry.
My NDA source is good. Everything here says it's good. What about now? Let's not do this now. So close to the end. The only thing AEW is missing is a couple of hosses, says DNG. Yeah, it's funny that they haven't done any hosses so far. Like, I'm trying to think, who's the biggest guy in that company? Awesome Kong might be the hoss of the company.
Awesome Kong, Luchasaurus.
Yeah, Luchasaurus is the hoss. He's the sole big guy.
Yeah. That's pretty much it right now.
I'm surprised they didn't get, Pero or somebody, because they seem really friendly with him.
We're not done seeing the lineup being added to yet.
Right, okay.
I think the next year we'll be seeing some faces come and go while they try to figure out who's a good match.
True.
Like I said, I still think this pay-per-view, even though we're really trying to set up some strong rivalries going into the TV show, there's still some training, there's still some tryouts happening with this pay-per-view.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And they're actually letting people decide. Now, next up, we got 2 matches left on the card. And the next one is the AAA World Tag Championships are going to be on the line when the Lucha Brothers take on the Young Bucks for the 3rd time in an Escalera de la Muerte match, which is a ladder match.
They're telling me I'm echoing if I get too close to the mic. So
okay. Well, now we know.
There we go. Thank you for the help with that, chat.
So these guys have been trading wins and losses a bunch, not only in America, but in Mexico, too, for AAA stuff I didn't even watch.
Yep. That's how they discovered them in the first place.
Yeah, which makes this hard to call as it stands right now, because in America, the Bucks have come up victorious every time.
I think we're gonna see double disqualification.
Interesting. Yeah, because you put the ladder in there, and there's so much you could do. I'm excited for this because the Young Bucks have always excelled in ladder matches. That's their Hardy Brothers love and appreciation, and that they're willing to go to crazy lengths. I don't think I've ever seen the Lucha Brothers in a ladder match before. I'm sure they have. I'm just don't think I've ever seen what they do for.
I'm so excited to see what those guys do.
Oh yeah,
the Luchas have quickly turned into my favorite tag team match.
They're amazing. They're amazing as a unit, and they're amazing on their own, too.
Yeah, and I really urge anybody who's not seen these guys wrestle, hop on YouTube really quickly. And the fact that these dudes were not picked up by major promotions
is insanity.
Yes.
Very much. The one I keep pitching, go see Penta versus Sami Callihan in TNA. They did a hardcore match with railroad spikes, which was one of the most hardcore things I've ever seen. Like, they just killed each other for our entertainment.
And these guys, they fly. I mean, they're stuntmen. These guys are just unbelievable in the things that they do.
And that crosses all borders. They have a chant that's super over with everybody all over the world.
Yeah.
Their merch is hard to find because it keeps flying off the shelves in Mexico in the short amount of time you can find it here in North America. They are opening a clothing company, though, so apparently they're...
Are they really?
Yes, like Lucha Wear, so they're really, really getting in on merchandising.
So I get to dress like a dragon if I buy their stuff?
Assumedly so. They just had it on Instagram the other day, and most of it was in Spanish, but what I gleamed was clothing company coming soon, Lucha Wear.
Take all my money.
I'm down for it.
I'm showing up to the office and that stuff, absolutely.
I want to look like a ninja ghost, whatever Penta is supposed to be.
I'm in.
We're brothers, but our gimmicks diverged. I like
that. Yeah, I think this is going to be a double qualification, or I think you put the Luchas on top.
I think you have to at this point.
Yeah, and like I said, you can't have every single dude who is the elite winning their matches.
It's
the
true.
The other thing is, again, I want to see the product do well. So, man, I want to see a lot of new Mexican and luchador wrestling fans latch on to AEW because they made these guys champs.
They're doing it right, too, because obviously they have a working relationship with Conan, who works with AAA. So, like, they're coming 3-4 times a year now to Mexico for their big shows. So they're becoming characters over there and vice versa. And then you got guys like Sammy Guevara, who works both shows anyway. So there's clearly a lot of really good crossover there.
Yeah, I'm into this.
Like, again, on television, you could do a AAA invasion angle. It's like, who are all of these masked men who are coming and picking fights?
Well, this is the beauty of AEW. I think, we've seen it with Mox, but we're going to see these guys, they're able to cross over with other promotions.
Totally.
And
even
that's something...
who don't like each other.
Yeah. That's something that WWE is going to suffer from.
Definitely.
Once you have someone like AEW who has kind of drawn the line in the sand and said, like, nope, you're not the only guys in town anymore. And then you start incorporating other indies into that game plan. You start kind of doing like the cross-pollination as far as like companies and promotions go. You can only be the big dog who keeps buying up the little guys so many times before the other little guys are going to get pissed off.
And in fact, they're getting quite devious with it now. They're like, fine, we'll start our own podcast network then, so you damn podcasters can't keep slagging us off and promoting the other guys. Which, hey, here's the thing.
It's true.
Keeping it 100, Talk is Jericho. Some of the biggest wrestler-run podcasts are people who are in the outs with WWE now working for the enemy.
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
that scares them, I'm sure.
Well, anytime someone gets announced for Jericho's podcast, it's like, that their damage control and their spin guys are already just listening to every minute going like, all right, how do we fix this?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And then you hear the rumor, too, where it's like they want to buy the Fight TV app. And I'm like, oh, well, that just wouldn't fuck over AEW. That would fuck over every indie show that has a thing on there. I sure hope they don't do that.
Right.
Because
like
that's
I said,
the ultimate petty move.
I think you can only piss off everyone so much at this point.
Go elsewhere. Now the final match we have here, the AEW World Heavyweight Championship match. It's a pretty belt, isn't it? Hangman Adam Page versus
so pretty.
Jericho. It really is. How do we feel about Hangman Page? I think he is a nice man, and I like that he is around. But I always thought it was weird that the Bucks and everyone else said, "Yep, this is our champion. This is our guy. This is the dude we're pushing to the top."
And if you listen to Jericho speak this week, he's going to put him over in a way that no one else has ever been put over before.
What does that mean?
That I think that means Chris Jericho is our new champion.
That's the thing too, where it's like, look, if Chris Jericho wins in this new company, that's going to be huge news for everybody. But also, does it send the right message that a former WWE guy wins your first title?
I think it looks. The optics for it are you recognize who Chris Jericho is.
Mm-hmm.
He's been around forever. You know who, like, everything about him.
Yeah.
If he's champion, like, you already bring over a certain group of people to watch.
It makes a ton of business sense, which cannot be denied, even if in a storytelling sense, this has all been about Hangman Page overcoming adversity and people saying he's not good enough, and even
He's going in with a knee injury, guys. I'm just saying.
And even reality bleeding over into the story, though, where Jericho, when he's cutting promos on him, is like, look, you're only here because you're the Buck's friend, is all it is. This is the only reason you've been pushed so hard so fast.
Right.
To where it's it's when they're mentioning it in storyline, I just don't know.
At this point, I think, not to mention, Chris has done such a great job promoting AEW.
Oh, God, yeah.
And he has, he's a brawler now. He's not flying off top ropes.
He's older now, he's got bad knees.
And he's still putting on some amazing fights.
Dude, I hope I am as good as I am when I am his age.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Chris Jericho's your AEW first champion.
It would be a swerve. People wouldn't see it coming. It would be everyone would be talking about it, and maybe that's for the best to have everybody start talking about it.
I don't think Hangman gets the championship for a while.
I mean, I think he will, but maybe they're like, no, save that for TV. In fact, if they want to do something crazy, have Jericho win it in the pay-per-view, then first episode of TV. I want my rematch right now. Boom, he wins first episode of TV.
I mean, if you really want to do it, treat it like a 24/7, where like these guys just keep trading it off back and forth every couple of weeks.
It would keep it interesting and exciting, that's for sure. But it also might feel like last couple years of WCW, where it's like, Nash made himself champion again.
Exactly.
And Jared hit him with a guitar. Here's the thing I want to know for a potential Jericho thing. I don't know if the other guy would want to do it, but they need to bring his fellow Thrill Seekers partner in, and they need to have Jericho and Lance versus, the Young Bucks in a tag thing is what they need to have.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's a disqualification. The championship stays vacant going into the TV show.
That's the thing too. Maybe they bring in a big new acquisition to screw up the match.
We're gonna get new. Like, it's not gonna be CM Punk, guys. I'm really sorry. I want it to be. I really do.
Oh, Lance does work for Impact. They're saying Lance Storm.
Oh, really? All right.
Is he a booker behind? I guess it's him.
He's an agent.
Tommy. Right.
I genuinely believe that we're going to see some new faces, and they're going to come in, and these fights are not going to finish clean.
Yeah. Again, that also feels like a WWE thing, too, where it's like it seems so far in these pay-per-views, they've had really clean, decisive finishes. Well, except for the Cody Darby Allin match. That one had some shenanigans attached to that.
Yeah.
But by and large,
that was them kind of playing around with it, saying, like, can we pull this off?
How far is too far, fans? Is this okay?
Exactly.
Is this okay? Is this fine? But again,
I mean, what's the chat think? Chat, who do you think is going to take the championship in this pay-per-view? I'm curious to know. Something else. It's true.
Yeah, it doesn't mean. Yeah, that's fair enough, SD. The Jericho Cruise can be his victory lap. That's right. How close is this to the Jericho Cruise? Because I could see that being something like, come to the cruise and see my title.
Yeah, we were someone saying Chris on this one too. Yeah, that's right. He's doing that cruise.
Yeah.
I want to crush beers with Jericho.
Same, man. I tried so hard to actually flex my YouTuber muscle to get on the first one. Where I'm like,
really?
Yeah. I'm like, yeah. I got this thing really popular in Canada. Maybe they didn't write me back. Shocker.
Yeah, let's see. A lot of people are saying Jericho because Paige really hasn't earned it yet, but Paige should win it on TV. That'd be you go into the new TV show with Jericho as your champion. People are going to watch.
That's going to put a lot of eyes on it. It's hard to deny. It's like, the fan in me is at war with the businessman in me.
I know. I keep thinking about, like I said, this whole podcast tonight, it's been what's best for the company.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm sorry, it's such an office space thing to say, but I want to see AEW succeed. These guys are doing what I go to the indie shows for, and they're doing it on a bigger stage, and they're doing it right.
Right.
You're allowed to go and scream against a heel and also at the same time laugh your ass off.
Yeah.
Because someone like Orange Cassidy's got the weirdest, dumbest gimmick in the face of the earth.
The wrestler who doesn't want to wrestle.
Yeah. Like, watching him against Tommy Dreamer was just hilarious. I think you're allowed to have fun with your wrestling.
Totally. But
the more fun that you have with your wrestling, the bigger the shockers are when, like, the tragedy hits.
Absolutely. I think what it's ultimately going to come down to, too, at the end of it all, who is Tony Khan a bigger fan of? The man who's signing the checks. We've heard in his origin story that he got, like, his millionaire father to take him to the final ECW show with Jericho in it as, like, a birthday present, so he's clearly a Jericho fan. Is he a bigger Jericho fan than a Hangman fan?
How much of Tony's influence is going to really kind of show through as far as, like, these victories go? Or is he going to let these guys really kind of tell a better story?
The only people who have talked about it so far is the Bucks, and again, they could be covering their own asses on it, where they're like, no, we wanted to lose every time, but Tony said we should win, so we won.
Yeah. Because that was one of the beautiful things, like watching him and Dustin kind of work their magic after that first Vegas show and doing commentary and, like, answering questions afterwards.
Definitely.
Both of them were just lying. Like,
oh, yeah.
And creating stories right then and there with the reporters. And I'm like, totally. Oh, my God, this is great. Oh, you mean the guy who's cutting the checks is in on it, too?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's very fun.
So,
which is great, too. It's like, oh, you're an authority figure, but you're an actual authority figure, but you're also in on the fun as well because you're a fan.
Yeah.
And they've smartened you up to this shit. I'm like, that's good. That's good shit.
Yeah. That's actually going to probably be, like, the big dark horse element in AEW.
Yeah.
Whereas Vince shows up to, like, to be booed and, like, have
stroke
people
his own ego.
That's literally what he shows up for now. If you have someone like Tony Khan coming out and, like, well, I'm a big fan of this, so this is why this guy should win, and then, like, that totally brings a whole new angle into the kayfabe.
Boy, does it ever.
And yeah.
I think the last time Vince actually came out and did something of note is when he let Kevin Owens headbutt him.
How long ago was that?
Like 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
That was. I think he let him frog splash him too, which I'm like, that's cool. I like Kevin Owens a lot. I'm glad he got to do that. He might be the last one to get to do that.
Probably. I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin Owens is also one of the best things that WWE's got going for him right now, and they haven't really let him off the leash.
No.
As much as they could have.
No, like, it's the feud he's in right now. It's like, I'm fighting Shane. I'm like, didn't you guys do this 2-3 years ago when you were a heel and he was a bit? Yes, we're repeating the same thing. Shut up.
Yeah. Anyways, enough about WWE. AEW, guys.
Yep, that's that's it. That's the whole card. I guess any surprises if we were to, like, think about anything that could happen here, because we've talked about the whole match card. We've given our thoughts. We talked about the speculation of CM Punk, which is the big thing everyone is talking about right now.
He's going to be there. He's going to make his appearance. He's going to wave his hand, and I'm very excited for that. My big 1,000 to 1 prediction that the Mox Mercer is not real.
Oh, that this is all a work. Interesting. All right, I
that's my big 1,000 to 1.
That he's fucking around with it. Yeah. Because they did, like, film reactions to it very soon. It's like, hey, Kenny, he's out, and then he had, like, a whole promo package ready to go, and they're like, oh, well, Kenny was in the studio when we found out.
Those promos were great, especially when Kenny go like, oh wow, so you're not that professional. Go off and wrestle and threaten your health. For our match not to go. I was like, oh yeah, can he do this?
I wrestled for months on end in Japan when I shouldn't have, on broken legs, and then I still turned in amazing work.
There's a really good chance that the MRSA infection could be work.
Interesting, very interesting. And even Moxley had a great one too, where he's like, oh, you're the best bout machine. Oh, you're an overgrown child. This isn't a video game. This is a fight.
Exactly.
And I'm like, oh, you both work really well together, actually, because you're such polar opposites.
That's great. Do you have a 1,000 to 1 prediction?
Oh, man. Maybe LAX comes out early. Maybe LAX gets involved at some point because they have had a long history with the Lucha Brothers and the Bucks, too. So maybe they come out and screw with their match. So maybe they don't have to crown a winner in that.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be an early surprise. I don't think they're going to wait until the very end like they did with Mox.
Agree. Is Brian Cage still under contract with Impact? Because I know they really wanted him to come out in a couple Battle Royales, but Impact actually put their foot down one of the first times and like, no, you're not getting Brian Cage.
I mean, he's an asset, so I can understand why they want to protect him.
Yeah, he's like one of their biggest guys. Same, ironically, Tara Valkyrie and Johnny Mundo showed up in being the Elite this week, and I'm like, are they allowed to do that?
Like I said, man, like let's find out who wants to play nice with AEW, and I really feel like AEW is kind of bending over backwards and making allowances for these cross promotions to happen.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's only going to be better for everybody in the end.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, everyone, I guess that'll just...
Oh, that's right. There's you know what? Dragon, 4774 is going to go. Where's MJF in any of this?
That's true. Well, a lot of people think he's going to be Cody's partner, that he's going to be the one to walk on, because they're the best friends,
Right.
That could be an option. Or he might try and get involved in the Spears match somehow. But yeah, he's shockingly quiet, you're right.
MJF has got to come in and do his thing, dude.
That's
because he's the best at. Because he is the best. He's the best at it, and I know it.
Even if he just runs out, insults people, and gets chased off like he did before, he doesn't even need to have a match to be good.
No, he doesn't. He really doesn't.
Just come off, be the most entitled, shitty person on earth, and like, ooh, you can't wait to see him get chased off.
It's the best. I feel like, all right, cool. That was my money's worth, guys. Thank you.
Man, again, pie in the sky dreams there. What if MJF comes out and starts cutting a promo on CM Punk, who's just sitting in the crowd?
Oh, that's something he would totally do.
Yeah. Hey, man, you good and rested there? Hey, what it's like? How's that ring rust treating ya?
Don't forget, MJF is the guy that when they did their first Battle Royale, he went right after the paraplegic first.
Yes, he did. You can't buy heat like that.
You can't. Really can't. Like, oh, God, I hope they really discussed that first, because that was a genius move.
Yeah, really. It's like, you want me to be really hated? This will make me the most hated person. Insults Bret Hart when he's out there.
I couldn't believe that.
After he almost got attacked by that crazy fan. Watch out, Bret.
Dude, oh, my God. I can tell you that All In was that moment. I was like, I think MJF really is the best heel in the business right now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. He's just so wonderfully, easily hateable. Like,
he's got such a punchable face, and I love him for it.
Boy, does he.
Yep.
Like him and Tommaso Ciampa are right up there. So, well, Tommaso's definitely the most evil, but MJF is the most hateable.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. What makes a bigger heel for you? The more dangerous or the more hateable?
That's a good. I waffle back and forth on that because another guy I always give a lot of credit to, Sami Callihan in Impact. There has not won a single feud, but by God, does he work magic being a supervillain for everybody?
Oh, absolutely.
Like he can just work with everybody.
You're really saying like he's gonna feud with me? Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna look like a superhero when I kick his ass.
Exactly.
And he's got his 2 minions in OVE, so it's a really good setup.
OVE are just despicable. They're so good at what they do in the ring.
Yeah, they look like if you touched them, they'd be sticky.
Oh, well, because they spit a lot. Mm-hmm. There's loogies flying. I've never had to move my seat before sitting in the front row because I was afraid I was going to get spit on.
Man, you ever wonder...
And they're...
They got like straight up like anti-tourism for Ohio. No, never come to Ohio.
They're all like this. No, like those guys, they need to take a bleach bath because like, oh my God, they're disgusting. And they're great for it.
Totally. So anything else? Anything else at all there before we wrap what ended up being a truly awesome show because I had a great guest to talk with me.
Yeah, I thank you, dude. I had to like just vent. Like, thank you for letting me tangent for a second. Like, I have thoughts and feelings about this. Thank you.
Totally.
You know what? like I said, I'm very excited to see AEW knows that the stakes are high. Mm-hmm. They now know that they've got competition being aired the same night.
Oh yeah.
I definitely see they've got something up their sleeves.
Yeah, they gotta bring something.
And I think that's just what circumstances have placed on their shoulders.
Are we going to have another throne break moment? And if so, what will that throne break moment be?
You know, like I said, I mean, like the big name could be a next WWE star.
True.
Like, I mean, has Sasha been released from her contract yet?
No, she came back.
Oh, did she?
She came back as a heel.
I don't watch WWE anymore.
Her return was actually pretty cool because, like, Natty's sitting there like, oh, I lost the big match, and oh, I lost it in Canada, and oh, my father, Jim the Anvil. And Sasha comes out, and she's like, oh, here, come on, let me console you. And then she rips off her wig to reveal that she has her evil blue hair that she had in NXT, and then just murders Natty in the ring.
Oh, my God, dude. Wow.
shockingly strong moment.
That's a moment that, like, for me, I would go back and watch that on Hulu.
Definitely.
You know, but I can't be that invested in it.
Yeah, you can find it on YouTube. It's all there. Oh, SD, thank you so much saying there. Be sure to get Kurt to leave all of his information here so people can follow him afterwards.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a brand new Twitch channel. Like, I might stream later on tonight after I get, like, some air after this.
Yeah, everyone go follow him. I'm sure he'll be more regular than me.
Yeah, I talk comic books.
Yeah.
And occasionally play video games, but it's a brand new channel, so.
He's a comic guy, too, and again, you're going to see him in Capes and Quests if you're not already a patron. And here's hoping we can, cooperate on other stuff in the future there. What's the next big co-op game we can play? Maybe if we both get the new wrestling, we can play that. Well,
I would play wrestling. Like I said, I've got a console and a PC just in case, like, I can play anything. But I've been looking for a good... Joel and I were talking earlier. I'm sucked into Apex again, and guys, I am so bad at it. I can't stop playing it.
If you're on my team, maybe I'll be willing to play because I actually know someone on the other end.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I play with a group of guys, a group of friends. We literally call ourselves the Garbage Brigade.
Good old garbage.
We're so bad because we're garbage.
You know, I'll say this: it'd be better than playing Borderlands. I've actually taken a moral stance against that new one.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
It's what else? I just picked up. Was it Hellblade from a year ago?
Yeah.
And that's just a beautiful. I know it's only gonna be like a 6-hour like first-person game, but I've been playing that for a little bit, and that's gorgeous. That's playing a movie. I love that one. Same. But yeah, I'm looking for co-op stuff.
I think that Remnant game came out. They're like, oh, it's like Dark Souls but a shooter.
Ooh, I haven't checked that yet.
Yeah, Remnant from Ash. It got mixed reviews, but I'm like, I imagine this is something if you played with another person, this would be fun.
Yeah, dude, there's plenty of games out there that like get like a 6 or a 7, but like if you under the right circumstances, like this is great.
Yeah, this is definitely fun. Agreed.
So
Red Dead Online's getting some new shit. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Which one? Who is?
Red Dead Online is actually getting some new stuff soon enough. They've got a job system.
Like to start. I have not picked up the new Red Dead yet, and that's something everyone's just like, it's Grand Theft Horse, dude. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
All right, let's do that.
All right, well.
So, I know we just kind of spiraled out of nowhere. Just.
You see, this is what happens when you get Kirk and me in the same room together. We could just talk forever. We got a great back and forth. So, yeah, thank you, everyone, for coming out and watching the Unsolicited Wrestling Podcast. We will be back again.
All right, by the way.
Next pay-per-view, because that's, like, when I put these out, whenever there's a new pay-per-view. Maybe we'll talk again in October once they've had their first TV show, if that's cool with you.
I would love to do that. Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll give our thoughts on the first episode of TV when they do that one. So, thank you, everyone, and we will be back again next time. Bye-bye. Thank you, Kurt.
See you guys.
Big pleasure, and we will see you again. Bye-bye.